10 Smartest Criminals Police Ever Had, according to Reddit. Number 10. Homeless guy in my hometown figured out that if he committed some act of petty theft, that he'd get a free night in jail, warm place to sleep, and a hot meal. He'd show up, turn in his stolen goods, and that'd be that. After a while, the police would just tell him to take back whatever he stole the next day. He was quite the town character. If only they could just let him stay in there and then do what he wants during the day. But I guess that's an abuse of taxpayer money? Whatever. The cops abusing that all the time. Number 9. Ooh, this one's hefty. Close to 20 years ago, a guy on Australia's Gold Coast got away with a bank robbery in broad daylight. He cased the bank for a while and discovered a pattern on the bank manager arriving about 30 minutes before anyone else each morning, where he would leave the front doors unlocked so that staff could come help themselves in without a key, or needing to wait for the boss to come and let them in. One morning, the crook dressed himself up for a busy day at the office and waited for the bank manager to arrive. As the manager was unlocking the doors, he made his move, entering the building and threatening the manager with a gun. He got all the details that he'd need to access the vault and so forth, and then he tied the manager up and stuffed him in his office. When the staff arrived, he told them that the manager had called in sick that day and that the regional office had sent him in to do like an open shop thing, and no one batted an eyelid. This bank had a small walk-in vault, which normally only held about 30 to 50K on any given day, but the old mate had timed his robbery for that morning after business banking day, when all the local small businesses would make their end-of-the-week deposits, and reportedly got a score of close to $250,000. Oh, that's a cool $250,000, baby. Someday I'll see that kind of money. Links are in the description, baby. Okay. Streamlabs me, daddy. Once the vault was open, he pulled his gun out and invited all the staff to enter the vault and locked them in. By this stage, the bank was due to be open, so when he went to leave, there were a number of customers waiting to get inside to do their banking. He told them all that there had been an issue with the computers and that the tech team had estimated it would take 30 minutes before the issue would be resolved, and that they couldn't open until then. Way to even, go to the trouble. He got into his car and drove straight to the airport and flew to Hong Kong and disappeared. To my knowledge, the cops never caught him and never managed to find his money. They knew that he'd have to leave the most of it in Australia somewhere, because you can only take 10,000 Australian in cash. No, wait. You can only... Thank you, Infinity Ball, for that subscription. It says you can only take 10,000 Australian equivalent in cash of any currency out of the country before customs pulls you into their interview room. So the assumption was that he had to have an accomplice who would funnel the money to him slowly over time. Hopefully she got some big ass titties, so it ain't that big a deal. Just got $10,000 on her all the time.
Have you seen these on my chest? Okay, exactly.
Number 8. Working in a home improvement store, or a home improvement store, however you want to read that, when younger. This guy comes in, went to the snow blowers, took one, and went to the returns desk. He said he wanted to return it, but had no receipt. They told him, "You need a receipt," so he says, "Okay, I'll be back," and wheels it off to cart through the front door. He did this a few times, apparently. A couple places even helped him load it back into his car. You mean like twice? They probably just admired his skill, admired the audacity. Damn, man, how can you teach me to be that confident? With enough confidence, you can do anything. Number 7. Here's one. I knew this guy back in the early 80s. Let's call him Jim. Well, he really wanted this high-powered super bike, but he knew that he could never afford it. So what he did was take the drive to London and scouted for a few days until he found that particular model parked outside a house. He goes back that night with a sledgehammer, pulls the lock, steals the bike, and he gets it home. He puts it in his garage and completely strips it so that the only thing that is left on the frame and the bottom is the bottom half of the engine, which he drags into the weeds at the bottom of the garden. Then he pours fuel over it and burns it a bit. A few weeks pass and the weeds have started growing over it. It's at this point he calls the cops and reports that someone had dumped a bike frame in his garden. The cops show up. He explains that he had just gotten back from being away and had found it. The cops take the frame and note down his name and address. A few days later, the cops call him and say that the bike had been stolen from London a month or so ago, the serial number on the bottom half of the engine and the frame, and that the insurance company had classed the bike as a write-off and had told the cops to dispose of it. Now, because the frame was found in his garden and the insurance company didn't want it, the cops were duty-bound to ask if he wanted to keep it or if they should throw it away. So he tells them that he'd always wanted to build a bike. He gets the frame back from them, repaints it, then puts it all back together and re-registers it as a Q. Stolen and recovered. I forgot to call him Jim, didn't I? What? So he made up a name for a guy and then never called him the name? It's still a ridiculous story. Okay. Number 6, boy. There's a small tourist town where I grew up that is divided in half by a big river. The only thing or way between the two sides is over a long bridge, unless you go all the way around the mountain pass. These guys called in, like 2 to 3 bomb threats, to a posh hotel on the other side of the bridge. I think they even left some dummy packages. All the police went across the bridge to do crowd control, etc., etc., and the guy called in a bomb threat on the bridge. He started robbing stuff on the other side. The police couldn't be positive that the bomb threat was real or not and hesitated long enough to give the thieves a head start. I first heard this story about 10 years ago in Banff, Alberta. Never bothered to look up if it was real versus being invented. I think this is pretty close. But as my father used to say, you can't let truth get in the way of a good story. Yeah, you can't let being a bitch get in the way of you commenting on Reddit either, huh? Number 5, there was a guy with over 50 speeding tickets with the name Prawo Jazdi. Oh, it's me, Prawo Jazdi.
You eat your milk and cookies, Prawo.
He was in a different car with a different disguise every single time. Well, ain't that just jazzy? Eventually, after the government set up a special task force to take down this guy, they realized that Prawo Jazdi just means driver's license in Polish. Shit. Y'all gonna make me piss myself up in here. Okay. Number 4. The story goes like this. The story goes like this. A homeowner walks out of the morning. Yeah, one more time. Walking out of the morning. The story goes like this. A homeowner walks out one morning to drive to work only to find his car missing. He reports the car stolen to the police, and a few days later his car is sitting back in front of his house. When he gets inside, he finds a note, and it was an apology that said, the thief was in dire need of quick transportation, so he borrowed the first car that he found with the keys inside. The writer noticed the sticker on the car for the local sports team, and just so there was no hard feelings, he left 4 tickets to an upcoming game in the glove box for the homeowner and his family. So the homeowner and his family attend the game, but when they return home, they find that the house has been ransacked and all of the items of value are gone. Now, listen to me. I'm trying my best not to get too involved in this list. But bro, first of all, What you doing leaving the keys to your own car in the damn car? Where do you live where you think this is okay? You fool, okay? Don't leave the keys in your car. If you leave the keys in your car, you're not gonna like to hear this. But you deserve to have your car stolen. Learn a lesson. What the hell are you thinking? What are you thinking? Okay, so that's number one, okay? Now, number two, the type of person that is going to steal a car, you know, regardless of whether or not he was looking around because he needed it or blah, 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 whatever the reason may be. If he's stealing your car, you know, do you think he just does this for thrills? He's loaded enough to be buying you tickets, you know what I mean? Oh, I was in a terrible situation. Instead of just asking people if they could give me a ride, I just decided to steal the first car with keys actually in it. I brought it back, you know, and then you all foolishly I'm surprised, like, I'm guessing 4 tickets was just enough for everybody in the house, right? Dude. Yeah, people are like, oh, it's an urban legend. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Dog boy, bunny man, Charlie no face. Polybius is real. I'm so sick of you dicks. It's not an urban legend. Also, I'll turn that whole page into a list. Watch me do it. Number 3. Well, there was this one guy, and we're gonna call him Jack. Jack stole stuff, but also involved a lot of people. One time he was planning to steal a whole bunch of cars, like luxury cars. So what he did was he got people to call 911, and he would have them call from different places, different countries, to tell them that the car theft was taking place in multiple places. Oh, he also used a few people each time, so it was different voices, people, locations, etc. The police went each time until he actually did the crime, and then no one came. He was never caught, and when the owner of those cars came forward, the police didn't believe him. Wow. He created a boy who cried Lamborghini theft. You know, my God. Number 2. A friend of my brother moved to Israel, where for a period of time it was acceptable to drive. Why, thank you, 2 dents. You know, hopefully, you know, if you're the type of guy that I think you might be, we can try to buff one of those dents out. Maybe you can be 1 dent. Yeah, it's the type of humor you can expect here on the Kyle channel. With an American driver's license, okay? It was acceptable for you to drive in Israel with an American driver's license. He was pulled over for speeding, and when asked for his license, he gave the officer his Costco card. Costco is a membership-based retail warehouse in the US, which is similar to BJ's. If you guys know what BJ's Wholesale Club is, it's a wholesale club, kind of like Sam's Club. Whatever, you just go somewhere and you get a larger quantity or portion than you normally would at a freaking grocery store. You don't know what freaking Costco is? Where the hell you living? God. The exchange apparently went something like this. Officer, Costco? What is Costco? Friend says, it's the state that I'm from. The officer says, that sounds made up. The friend says, there are lots of states you probably haven't heard of. Have you heard of Arkansas? How about Idaho? And the officer says, I guess not. And the friend says, well, I'm from the small state of Costco. Damn it. The officer didn't have a response and wound up asking, bruh, what's the capital of Costco? And he said, free sample. Damn it. I'm kidding. I wrote that. I put that in there for a little bit of spice. I apologize to any of my blind listeners. I'm on that bullshit as usual. Forgive me. The capital is free sample. Look, the officer wound up writing the ticket to someone with a Costco driver's license. A friend framed the ticket and still has it hanging on his wall. Amazing. Amazing. Number 1 on the list of smart things or smartest criminals that police ever had reads as follows. Most of them are really stupid, so this guy isn't a criminal mastermind, but here it goes. He wanted to rob a jewelry or a jeweler on our city's main street. So he found out that the flat beside the jeweler's was empty, and he hid in there. For 2 weeks, he triggered the alarm system on purpose several times a night. My man, dude. My man. Massive headache for the police and the business. We turned up to see nothing there. Nothing on the cameras. Thought it was just a fluke, so the jewelers turned off the alarm system and said they'd wait until morning to get a new one installed. Or that one was rewired because something wasn't right. As soon as he heard that the police were leaving, he tore down the wall and robbed the place, taking his sweet time. He escaped without anyone noticing anything for hours until the jewelers came back in the morning. Then he tried to resell them or something, and they all had serial numbers on it, and he got caught. You idiot. So not the smartest after all. Good effort, though. What do you mean good effort? He did it. He stole them. He just got caught. Foolish mortal. So that was a short list. You know, it barely amounted to half an hour of your time. But maybe some of you were in the mood for something shorter. So maybe it hit the spot, okay? Want to thank you all for being so wonderful, so supportive in this my trying time. Man, YouTube really licking, maybe I should just hold my tongue. Hold the tongue that is for licking as it pertains to YouTube and its actions. Who knows how long this may stay up? But if you're invested in checking me out on Twitch, the link is in the description. If you can only watch this on YouTube, follow the other channel where I will be live streaming, so that you don't feel like you're missing out. I want to thank my Twitch subs. I want to thank my YouTube sponsors. And I wholeheartedly want to thank my patrons as well. If you want to donate or send something off the wish list, or just send me a message and let me know that you've done something today that you're proud of, but at the end of the day isn't really that big a deal, go ahead and do that. I'll pat you on the back in a way where you feel like it is a big deal, even though it's probably not. So I love you. I'll talk to you soon, and one of these days, either of us, if not both, will get our shit together. Somewhere over the rainbow, we're productive. There's your song. Wow. Arden in the stream chat on YouTube is asking, are you going to stream this evening? And the answer is yes. So you'll see me in the night, 9:30 as usual. I was just testing some stuff out with this multiple stream to the other YouTube channel, which will be in the description of the YouTube video. So subscribe there if you're interested, and I'll talk to you guys later. Love you. I'm starting to feel like I hear my tongue rolling around in my mouth. Gross. I need something to drink. See you guys later.